So I was just wanting to get your viewpoints on it. What do you think? Think I'm on the right track? You think I'm handling it pretty well? Thank you. I appreciate that. And by the way, I know you've been hitting me on MySpace. And I haven't answered you, but I want you to know, doing it all for you. And I know you're so grateful. If you'd like to say a few words, go ahead. Hello? Are you there?
Katt is a fool, I swear. But y'all, here is a compilation of some of Katt Williams' best feel-good moments on the internet throughout the years. Hope you guys enjoy.
Dave Chappelle did an interview a few years back, and he specifically said something to the effect of there's this whole idea of like strong people in Hollywood being called crazy, and how there's a fine line between being crazy or being a genius. And he said in particular, it takes a strong person to sit in the seat that you're sitting in.
Chappelle's, I guess, the perfect person to discuss that. In order to technically be sane, it requires that your belief system go along with everybody else's. And so that's why they put such a high modicum on labeling you as that, just in preparation for what you might later say. On the deep end of it, they have an idea that there's a Messiah coming and they're not sure who it's going to be. They just know it should stick out. So they look every time something sticks out to make sure that's not it. Either way, genius is relative, and it's generally better served once you're gone.
Right.
So the geniuses that we all agree upon, that's not exactly what they were viewed as at the time. There's no way for the guy outside with a kite with keys on it trying to get struck intentionally by lightning. There's no way for him not to be crazy in the current
just because he's different
frame of reference. We have to see this guy be right enough times that we go, wait a minute, he can't be crazy and right.
You adopted 7 kids. Why? That's a lot of kids for a man that's as busy as you are, travels as much as you do, on the road as much as you are, spend a lot of time, because you have to spend a lot. I mean, it's not easy. I mean, maybe it comes so natural to you to put pen to paper and to write things down and be able to go out there and perform a set. But that's a lot of responsibility, Katt.
Right. Right. But if there was a God, what would he think about you if you did that? I'm saying let's say, for example, that God is real.
Yes.
Okay? And let's say he be looking at what you do.
Yes.
What would he say if you did that?
He said, that Katt, that's a very kind gesture. That's very generous of you.
My whole life, since I was telling you when I was young and they was asking me what I wanted to be, and nothing I wanted to be was what I wanted to be, God's friend. That's a weird thing if you're an atheist. If you're an atheist, I didn't even say nothing. But if you believe in God and I tell you that I wanted to be God's friend and I wanted to even go to Hollywood and still be God's friend, if I told you that that was my aim, you could understand where I'm at. Like, I promise you, no jealousy, no bitterness, none of that. I got exactly what I was trying to get. I haven't been shorted in any way.
I mean, 7, 8 kids, single. You gonna get married?
You remember the conversation where it was me?
Yes.
And I didn't know what was gonna happen to my 2 little brothers, and it was just gonna be out there?
Yes.
So when it comes full circle, and I'm one of the richest men that ever lived. And I don't mean, please don't look at my net worth. I saw my net worth. I had that on me. I don't even. I swear to God.
People like, like yourself and people like Dick Gregory, who kind of put themselves out there in ways that may not necessarily be, politically correct, but you use your platform to speak about issues. And why is it important that you do that and not hold your tongue as a comedian?
Well, remember, these are unpaid people that are in your audience. So if you say something that they don't agree with, they're free to let you know they don't agree with how you talk. So to be able to speak for the people in any category is an awesome responsibility. But we got people out there qualified for that. And it's the comedy community, the fans, that don't let trash through. They separate who's who and what's what. It's not left up to you as an individual. That's what makes it important.
So, Katt, they want to know what was the first time me and you encountered each other?
First time that we met, I wasn't famous, so you couldn't remember who the I was. You treated me nice, and we had a real street-level type conversation, which was helpful to me. And so the next time that I saw you, I was big enough for you to know who I was.
And I love you, Katt. I love you for always being you and always being, you know, a smart, brilliant businessman. That's what a lot of people don't understand. To tell these jokes, you got to be smart and brilliant because you got to remember all of that. You got to be able to, you know, be repetitious with it at the same time and fly. In case somebody jump out of pocket, you got to be able to have something to say for them, too. So your brilliance as a businessman, I respect that. I tell all the time when I came over to see you one time, you was like, I got a check from 2 years ago for $3 million and I ain't even spent it yet. I'm like, this know how to hold on to old checks and they still be good. My checks bounce like a after the first week.
Then when he made $500 million, they said even though his contract said he should get half of it, they said he made too much for the contract to be valid, so we'll offer you 10% of what you made. You mean he made $500 million and they offered him 50? Yes. And he said, what do you think my fans are going to say when they find out you offered me 10% of what I made you? And they said, your fans will believe that you're a crazy crackhead by the time you get home. And my guy on the flight in LA, and by the time he got to Ohio, the fact that a devout Muslim who doesn't eat bacon was accused of being a kid. Until we established the fact that they said that he went to Africa to smoke when we know they don't have running water and food over there, when they don't have paved roads over there. You saying he flew past Chicago and Miami and LA and New York and Detroit. You saying he went past Cleveland and Fort Pierce, Florida, and he went past Okeechobee and Oakland. You say he went to another country where they're not eating?
Right.
You talking about somebody who has a wife and children, 5 children, and lives on a farm, doesn't live here in Hollywood. You saying you convinced people that person was an insane kid? And change to Django. I'm trying to figure out how you had a silent letter before could read. Now, listen to what I just said. How could you have a silent letter before black people could read?
How could you have a silent letter before?
He said, my name is Django. The J is silent.
The G is silent. Django, yeah.
You're not even supposed to be able to...
That's some profound stuff you're talking about right now. You're making me think, Katt Williams.
Sir. They can say I'm crazy all they want. My IQ is 163 and I get tested every 6 months.
Your IQ test?
I've been with Mensa since I was 10. I won the Optimist Club's National Oratory Award for adults when I was 8 years old.
Tell me about your conspiracy, brother.
There aren't that many conspiracy theories anymore because we found out that all conspiracy theories, there's a nugget of truth in there. It came from somewhere. That's where it became a theory. And then it progressed to the point where it became a conspiracy theory because there was something there. See, in our industry, who pays you is who tells you what narrative you're allowed to use. And I'm not paid, so I own my narrative. So in media, somebody's getting paid.
I've got one that can see.
You probably wonder, why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer's over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer.
Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nose, it can only be Why would somebody vandalize a whole face and only vandalize one part? Nobody wanted to knock an eye off or take an ear off or no chins missing. No, just the nose. Because it's a brand.
What was your upbringing? How was it? How was life as Katt Williams coming up?
I was often confused because I knew things and I wasn't sure how I knew them. I knew things that I felt like I don't have a reason that I know this, but I love to read. I was voracious because they told me when I was young that knowledge was powerful. That knowledge was power, and I had studied powerful people, and I really believed that. I immediately, my next project was to read the whole encyclopedia set. So when you're like 6, 7 years old, you read the whole encyclopedia set, you think you're one of the smartest people in the world,
right,
only to get out in the world and find out you don't know anything. Simply because it's the right thing to do. So the truth of the matter is, they wanted to give me a star, but please don't consider me and this person been sitting on this list this whole time. And just because they ain't got enough money, they can't get they just due? That's crazy. When do you start? That's hurtful. What if somebody can't afford their flowers? You mean they don't get them? No, God don't operate like that. He would send a dummy like me to come and take care of that. Just so that the right thing happens. That's how the universe works. Because remember, what am I spending my money on? I'm not spending my money on strippers. I ain't spending them on drugs.
Why not?
Like,
stripper
what?
party.
Because if I go in a strip club, I'm only trying to get her out of there.
Yeah.
I have no intention of her or any other people being in this position. If I see a girl I like at the strip club, I'm telling her, you know you don't have to strip no more after this. This could be your last day. How about that?
Ooh.
What would it be like just to leave it all? You ain't gotta be a hoe no more.
I don't even want you to go get your purse. Just leave it.
Ain't nothing in
We
it.
get new ID. We get new ID and credit card and social security card.
We don't need none of that.
None of that.
None of that.
You
This life don't look good on you.
Yeah, shit.
You don't even look like a drug addict.
Got me thinking, Katt.
Right. You hear these athletes talking about, yeah, we was out there tricking. What? Why? You're part of the problem. You're part of the problem. Stop paying people that you don't have no respect for. It sets it up bad for us. We got women out here can't find a man because they acting like him. You are alpha. Now the alphas all want these subservient husbands. You can't have one.
No. That ain't gonna happen. Vastly underpaid. They say the math is not mathing. They get X amount of dollars by the time Uncle Sam get his cut, by the time the agency get their cut, and what you see they were supposed to get is a fraction of that. Where do you come down on that, Katt?
It was the saddest thing ever because imagine being in your genre, in your sub-niche, whatever it is. Imagine being in your lane. Imagine being one of the very top of your lane. That to the point where if they don't take you for the role, there's not 3 black actresses that they can say are bigger than you that we're going to give this to. Imagine you being at that point and have to humble yourself and say, they're not paying me, y'all. And they not making my pay go up because I'm doing better or nothing. It don't matter to them that I'm famous and people know me or nothing. They want to pay me exactly what they paying the new girl. And I've been suffering under it for a decade now and just taking it. I just been getting whooped. But I just got to come say, this is wrong. We should be ashamed. But this is a country where we don't pay the teachers, and then we say the kids is the most important thing. You can't have both of them. If you do that, we're going to end up with a generation that can't read. Guess what? Generation Z and A can't read. Why? Because who was giving them a book? We gave them an iPad or a phone, and now the letters don't mean there's no cursive writing.
Right.
Sorry about that. So yeah, this is what period of time it's in. It's the period where the victims get to say, they've been hurting me for a long time. And I just ain't said nothing because I was trying to be strong and I didn't want to shame anybody. When our people call out for help, we got to understand.
What's something that people say about you that's often misconstrued or misinterpreted?
It's not that they don't know me.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally that they don't know the full circumstance.
Mm-hmm.
So I've just chosen not to optimize that. I know that if I were to just be a little bit more forthcoming as to what the whole situation was, everybody would be on my side.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes that's not what's necessary. Sometimes it's just important that you be the vessel.
Right.
He was a high thinker and a guy that was always 30 steps ahead of whatever the curve was. And, you know, when you play 26, 28 instruments, it means that you are able to be multifaceted while also focusing on each thing like it's the only thing, which is a hard skill. But he let me know that you could be short and light-skinned with long hair, and people could make fun of you, but as long as women loved you, you had nothing to fear. He was unlike anybody in the world. He was just an amazing individual. I was able to meet him when I was 12, and I knew him my entire life through all of his changes. I was able to assist him many times. If you go look at Prince's car collection, you'll see that Prince don't have not one car Katt Williams ain't got. He got the Prowler from Friday After Next in there. He got the same Bentley as me, because we share certain things. Our connection was lyrics, musical lyrics, women, and cars. And those are the areas where he trusted my opinion on things. And that's where I got to be helpful in his life. And he was helpful in mine in really all different types of ways, especially about the business, as far as being a black man that was rich in this business at 18 years old, had already did his first $1 million contract, had already broken records, was determined that he didn't want to be like anybody else, was so great of a guitar player that black people just stopped caring about guitar, and he got left out on a limb and somehow still had to create his way out of that. He was just really a one in a billion type person. I was lucky to know him.
I'll be talking to Katt, right? He just might be like, hold on. Walk in the house, come back outside, 25,000. Like, man, just put it in your pocket, honey.
I've heard stories of him being very generous, though.
He would just give you 25,000?
25,000. Then I fly to Vegas. I'm like, man,
the wrong neighbors.
I was like, man, Katt, he was like, what you did to that, man? I was like, man, I was out there at the store, man. I was like, man, you know they charging $2,000 for them Chrome Heart jeans. He was like, damn, we ain't finna be complaining about the wardrobe budget. Goddamn. When I left, I looked in my pocket. I had a jean jacket. I'm like, man, that nigga done left $10,000 in my pocket.
He don't want you to complain.
Like,
what?
Katt. Why, Katt? I'm like, Katt. He like, nah, nigga. And just hung up the phone. He texted me like, we ain't complaining about no wardrobe budget, man.
So a lot of times I will utilize ladies to convey a message. If a comedian is doing a great job somewhere in the country, he just did a masterful set and nobody's gonna pay him. They just clapping. And I know he's broke as shit back there. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody just showed up and gave him a little blessing? And he didn't have to suck me off for it and, thanks, Katt, and boy, I really needed it. Why would you do that? If you was actually just trying to help people, you would. People know that's how I pay my tithes. If I got paid $100,000 to be at your city, I'm gonna take 10,000 of that and put it in your homeless area. Not because I got to, because you gave me 100 racks to come to your little rinky-dink town. Who would I be to not pay my tithes back to your town? That's how I got in this position. Now, I know that if your mouth is really, really big and you try to tell the truth for a living and you like to air people out, hatred is coming your way. I didn't know it was going to be this type of hatred, but, you know, I'm concrete in all things because of He who strengthens me. So that doesn't mean I always make the right decisions, but I am going to stand by what I stand for, and I'm only continuing to do it because I was looking for somebody who was doing it instead of me. And I just must have missed them, you know what I mean? So at some point you have to figure out what example are you trying to be. If it's just going to be you going to make it and live happily ever after and go off into the sunset, then that's what that is. Otherwise, you're on the front line of this battle. And those of us who understand that this is a part of what comes with it.